I'm sure that after this final episode of Ahsoka Season 1, we all have a lot on our minds, but I think there is one big question that looms over us all. And I know what you're probably thinking, Amanda, we're on the same wavelength here. You get me. You know where my mind is going. I'm going to say I'm pretty sure you're right. There's just one big Jedi elephant-size question in the room that needs to be answered. And it's, what is happening with the Loth cat? Because we haven't seen that Loth cat since the beginning. No, I do wonder about the Loth cat. I'm pretty sure the mayor's just gonna adopt that Loth cat or something. But no, the question is obviously Balin's skull, but also the Loth cat. I am still curious. Balin's skull is a pretty big question though, which I think we have to answer in all seriousness. What are we gonna do about that? What is happening? I'm still processing this episode, to be honest, so I don't know how organized my thoughts will be here, because I feel like they're going in 12 different directions all at once. I feel like the map, you know, in the credits, I feel like there's just a million things going off in many different directions, and I feel very conflicted about how this season ended and what went on in this episode. There was a lot of good things. There was a lot of interesting choices. I wouldn't say bad, but I would say that there would have been better choices for some things. So we're going to talk about that. But first things first, let me just break it down for you here. We're going to talk about the synopsis. And I'm going to do this really quickly because I'm just going to tell you just what I remember, which basically is that Thrawn ends up... Oh, I guess I should say spoilers? I think we're past spoilers. It's episode 8. Thrawn gets off the planet. Sabine and Ahsoka and Huyang all are stuck, whereas Ezra gets off, so it's kind of like a changing of the guards. Morgan Elsbeth gets elevated only to lose her life. That shadow power is immediately doesn't matter because she's gone. But we did get an awesome fight. We'll talk about that in a second. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what happens. Ezra gets to be reunited with Hera. Baylan and Shin show up at the very end, and it seems like Shin is going to join up or lead the bandits, and Baylan is going to be ominous and cryptic again and not really tell us what he's doing, but give us some hints, and that's where it's at. What is he doing? People have theories. I have theories. We'll discuss. We'll discuss that. Where do I start with this episode? I guess let's start with the parts that were kind of some things. Basically, I just feel like there are moments that happen in this part of the story that were a little bit too convenient, shall we say, such as the door, the second door being there and them being right in the spot when they're in danger to blast the door mechanism so that it closes, which I always think doing that, although it's very Star Wars, so I was totally fine seeing it in this, and I am fine with it overall. But I do think the blasting of the door in general is a kind of convenient thing, because who's to say that that is what will happen when you blast the door? I guess experience in this universe is what teaches us that. I'm sure everyone has seen someone close a door by disabling the controls before. It's part of growing up in the Star Wars universe. The other thing would be the force jump, so that Ezra does to basically get onto Thrawn's ship, and that happens through Sabine using the force, which I am fine with Sabine being able to use a little bit of the force, and I think she's been working hard for that, and it's only this last episode that we've gotten that payoff, so I think that's fine. However, there's something very different from grab the lightsaber with the force, which I feel like could have been her big force move. I don't we needed her to push Ezra. Just make the ship not as far and make Ezra do it, is what I would have said there. And I also understand it's a moment of desperation, I guess. So Sabine, maybe, you know, fearing for her friend's life, she's able to force push further. But yeah, it's just something about that was like, oh, okay, now she can also just force push a whole person way up to continue this jump. Okay, sure. I'll accept it. I'm not super happy about it, but I'll accept it. I mean, overall, though, I would say that my major complaint with a lot of these moments that I did notice was just that it felt like some things were sort of tidied up a little too cleanly. So there were just moments and bits and fights that I was like, that was too clean. Like, I wanted it to be not so, well, this is the end of the story, so like we're just gonna get through this. Is kind of what it felt like. Speaking of the end of the story, how do I feel about this ending? I think overall, I feel like this ending makes sense for the season, and I do like still very much this show. I'm really excited to do my full season review where we talk about everything as a unit. So I won't get into it too much here, but I don't think this ending like ruined anything for me or anything like that. I think the ending was good. The ending was fine. It was good. It was fine. It didn't blow my mind. But I just feel, I guess, conflicted because I feel very confused as to where we're going next. I feel like we have a heading for everyone, but Thrawn is the main character where I feel pretty confident in what's next for him. And for some of these other characters, I'm kind of left asking why. And I guess in some way it feels like it detracts from some of the character development we got earlier on in the show. Because I'm wondering, like, where does that take them next? And I'm a little confused as to, in terms of what they want and need as a character, like, what will their motivation be for the next part? I mean, that's the majority of what I'm feeling. I think this was still a really good episode, but it wasn't as strong in the sense that it didn't have the same level of motivation. It didn't have the same drive as some of the episodes did. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of moments in this episode that are kind of like for the greater good. And it's different when we see someone like Thrawn do it, because with Thrawn, even when he is making the choice to sacrifice something, you feel that. And I think Thrawn was actually the standout for me in this last episode, because I just felt like everything he did came from a very like strong position, from a very strong place that I could understand. And when he's giving up these characters, you know, when he has to leave the stormtroopers behind, leave Elsbeth behind, it's not easy for him to, you can tell, to like make those choices. Like, he knows that's the right move, so he's gonna do that for sure. But at the same time, it's not like he doesn't care about these people. You can tell that he cares. When Elsbeth actually gets like elevated by the Great Mothers and gets, you know, power and is risen up, the way that Thrawn watches all of that happen, the way that he looks is like, he looks like he's so proud of her getting that. And he's also so excited to like be like, that's a person that rolls with my crew. Like, that is a person who's on my team and who I'm going to be working with, and I'm excited about that. So when he has to say like, you have to stay here, like, you can tell that he's like, it sucks. The fact that he cares enough to not just send people to their deaths without letting them know, like, you're probably not going to make it, which I fully expect that you will, but you're not going to make it. And to hear, when he hears people basically say like, yeah, we know, and we're still going to go, and how he kind of just like has this conflicted look of like, oh, good, but also like, oh, that sucks. Like, I really didn't want to have to do it, but has to be done because these people are all so great, because he obviously has a lot of respect for the people that work for him and work with him, which I admire. I understand why a lot of people love Thrawn, you know? Like, I do think he's such a great character, and I am excited to see what happens next. Depending on where we go, I don't know if that's AHSOKA season 2. I don't know if we're going to the movies. I will say, I wish we got more of Shin and Balin this episode. That was a bummer to me. And the fact that things ended so, cryptically for Ray Stevenson's character as Balin, and the fact that we don't know, like, I mean, that's the last we're gonna see of him, you know? In this season. And while I can understand it from a story standpoint why it's like that, and obviously they didn't know, people weren't expecting Ray Stevenson to not be here, right? So I understand that, and I actually really appreciate that it feels like they didn't go back and really change anything because of, you know, the loss, which I really respect, because it just means they're standing 100% by what the plan was for the character, by, you know, Ray's work on the character, and everything that they did on set, which I think is great, but it is still, like, it's just heartbreaking. And I just wish we got more, because it was really good. And it's really, like, just upsetting, clearly. But time will tell, I guess, where we go with Baylan next, and if the character's journey continues. And what happens with that, because now we don't have Ray Stevenson, so I don't know what the future holds for that character, but I did really love that character even outside of Stevenson's portrayal, although obviously I think that's a big part of the reason why we all loved it, obviously, but I think it's still a really cool character. It's probably one of the coolest characters that we've had in recent years that's been added to the mythos, so I hope that we get to continue that, because I want to know what happens next. It seems like there could be some legend stuff in our future. There could be some, not Bendu, because he's gone. Well, I mean, in the Force still exists. I don't know. My theory is actually it could have something still to do with Bendu, even though I know Bendu is gone because what happened in Rebels, which, like I said, I haven't seen Rebels, but there's one more thing that I just want to say, and that is just Ezra being so chill with Sabine. This is more of a question. I don't want to judge this because I feel like I don't know the character well enough to really know if this is a reasonable reaction. And I haven't seen anyone, like, super go in on it, so I feel like it's probably cool that Ezra was just like, oh, okay, Thrawn's trying to get away, now we have to go deal with this, and Ezra was just like, okay, we're just going to continue on. But he was very, like, still chill and friendly and sweet with Sabine, and I just thought he would be at least a little conflicted, like excited to be on his way home, excited to be reunited with his friends, but also like, I literally gave up my life for this, and you guys came, and now Thrawn might get away. But, you know, maybe he was just ready to go home. You know, he's been there for a while. You know, Noti are cool, but when Noti's all you got, is it enough? I think it's enough. I would hang out with the Noti, but hey, that's me, and I'm not Ezra. So let me know what your thoughts are on that characterization choice, especially if you've seen Rebels. I'd love to hear more about, like, what you think of how Ezra was portrayed in this, and how all the characters were portrayed in this. That is honestly the strongest thing for me with most of what I've seen, although we'll get into that more in the full season discussion. But although I feel conflicted about where everyone ended up, I will say that I love the journey that we went on together here, and I still feel like the character work stands. I'm not sure if where this ends cheapens anything that happened in the season, because it doesn't feel as fulfilled, but also it's a journey, and I think we're gonna see these characters more, and I hope we do, because I really did enjoy the directions that I think they're headed in. I have theories, but I don't fully know. And hopefully we see more of the Lothcat. That would be really great. Maybe next season? Next in the movie? In somewhere? I don't know. That's basically it for me, friends. I hope you enjoyed this ramble fest that is a video. And yeah. Oh, I should rate this. Lightsabers? What do we give it? Chimeras? How many ships? Yeah, let's give it chimeras. We'll give it how many Thrawn ships do I want to give? Let's do out of, what do I usually do? I think I usually do 10. Yeah, for this one for me, I think is more of a 6 or 7 scenario. It was still good though. I still liked it. I think I'm gonna go 6. I might reassess this when I review the full season. But I think for now I'm gonna say 6 just because of some of the stuff that felt a little clean and how conflicted I feel. But hey, conflict can be good. Conflict means I have strong feelings. So that's a good sign. All right, friends, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you when I do the full review on the season. Until then, stay nerdy, friends. Bye.